Socialism again. Oh my god, big surprise. I'm always talking about socialism. I had some interesting thoughts about it. First, I want to plug a show tonight. I'm going to be on... Damn it, I can't think of the name because I know the name changes from time to time. Look out for a live stream. I'm going to share it tonight. It'll be on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. So go follow me there. I'm going to be doing an awesome live stream about the ganja and the new cannabis laws that are coming up. Oh, that's embarrassing. I forgot the name of the show. I know the name of the person, but she doesn't like to say her name. She goes by a nom de guerre. Okay, so, socialism. I saw a really great video by John Stossel. And it was about the tragedy of the commons. And basically what he did was he did an experiment where he had like a big circle drawn on the floor. And he had like 10 people sitting around it. And he put a bunch of dollar bills in there. And he said, these dollar bills, they're like, you know, farm animals or, you know, crops or something. If you take them right now, they'll be worth $1. But if you wait for 5 minutes, don't take them, I'm going to replace all those $1 bills with $5 bills. Well, what do you think happened? One person started picking up dollar bills, and then everyone else was like, oh my god, I got to get the dollar bills before they're all gone, because if there's none left, none of them are going to be replaced with $5 bills. And sure enough, that's what happened. And, you know, this wasn't scripted. This was like, you know, telling these people, yeah, you get to keep the money. Then he did another experiment, which was exactly the same, the big circle drawn on the floor, but then everything, he drew it into slices like a pizza, like a pie. And each person was sitting on a slice, and there was a dollar bill put in each slice. And he said, you can only take what's in your own slice. And so everybody sat and waited for 5 minutes so that dollar bill would be replaced with a $5 bill. Why? Because there was no threat of somebody else taking theirs. Now, this is an argument for private property. It's an example called the tragedy of the commons, which, you know, basically says if you have a common area where people are allowed to take whatever they want from that common area, people will take more than they need because they know eventually someone else is going to take it. If they don't take it, someone else is going to take it. And so this is interesting. It kind of solves the problem by saying, okay, we'll just add private property rights and you don't have this problem anymore. But the interesting thing about that is that the way the second experiment starts is everybody's equal. Everybody already has an equal slice. Isn't that kind of like socialism? And I know Stossel, he's very much against socialism. I believe he's a libertarian. So how did he overlook this little piece of information? Now, I want to say this too, because, you know, when it comes to socialism, I want to say I don't object to the claims of fairness or equality, or, you know, the demands for fairness and equality that come from socialism. What I really object to is the violation of rights and the authoritarianism that it takes to impose that equality. So there's a few thoughts to this, because, you know, equality sounds wonderful, but at the end of the day, you look at this experiment, and these 10 people that were sitting around the circle are basically being compared to farmers, and the circle on the ground is being compared to farmland. Now, in this simple example, all you have to do is sit there and wait, and the money's going to multiply. But, of course, that's not how the real world works. In the real world, you have to put in work to take care of your crops and make sure they grow, to take care of your animals and make sure they're fed, make sure they're healthy. And so if everybody in an entire country were to be given the exact same equal starts, things would change very rapidly. So let's say everybody has, let's say everybody starts with a farm and a car and a big house and everything else. Everything wonderful, right? Well, some people are going to say, well, I don't really need this house. I'd rather have 2 cars and a smaller house. And, okay, why shouldn't they be able to have that? If somebody wants to trade with them, why shouldn't they be able to have that? And of course, well, that brings up a problem, because if everybody started out equal, where's the smaller house going to come from? Somebody's going to have to build it. So that creates other things, other problems. Well, who's going to do that? Is somebody going to get paid for that? Are they going to exchange labor? Are people going to complain? But anyways, at the end of the day, people are going to trade, and they're going to end up with what appears to be inequality. People are going to have that farm. Some people are going to take great care of their farms. Other people are going to say, hey, there's enough food there to last me a lifetime. I'm not going to ever bother learning how to take care of it. I've got much better things to do, like just, playing video games, watching movies, whatever. I don't want to learn to take care of my crops. People have different interests. What people do in their spare time is different. Some people might become obsessive about their crops. Oh my God, this is so amazing. Did you know I could crossbreed these 2 crops and now I have a new crop that nobody else has? And now we're not equal again. So things are going to change. And you could say the same thing about money too. If you give everybody $1 million and everybody's equally a 1 millionaire, some people are going to save it. Some people are going to invest it. Some people are going to spend it on whatever they want. Cocaine and hookers. Nice cars, bigger house, whatever. Some people are going to spend all of their money until they have nothing left. And then they're going to be poor again. And then what's socialism's answer to that? Now, in some systems, the answer is never to actually give them the money. It's to just, you have this massive government that takes care of everybody. But when you do that, you inherently create authoritarianism. Because when you have a government that's big enough to provide free healthcare to an entire country, that means you have a handful of board of directors, or whatever you want to call it, lawmakers, administrators. It's a handful of people that are ultimately going to be making rules that affect hundreds of millions of people. So you have authoritarianism. What if their decisions are good for 90% of the people, but not for 10% of the people? What if those 10% of the people say, hey, that policy doesn't work for me, I'd rather do something else, but that's illegal, and they don't have access to the resources because the resources are not to be trusted in the people's hands because they might waste the resources. They're not to be trusted in their hands. And so the government has to make all the decisions for them. This is ultimately the solution to prevent people from wasting their own resources and putting themselves in a position of poverty, or where however far down that hole goes. But what's interesting is that's the trade-off, right? So now you have people, let's stick with the healthcare, for example. Now you have people who want to do something to their own health, for their own benefit, and the reason they can't is to protect people from doing bad things to themselves. I'm going to say that again. The one person who wants to do a good thing to himself is not allowed to, because they've created a system that prevents another person from doing a bad thing to themselves. So, in order to prevent one person from doing a bad thing to themselves, you are forcing another person to do a bad thing to themselves. One of them is forceful, the other one is voluntary. If I start out life with $1 million and I spend it all, that's my fault. I have nobody to blame but me. I can't blame the government. I can't blame rich people. I can't blame the banks. I can't blame anybody. I had $1 million and I wasted it all. But now, if I have $1 million and it's in the hands of the government and I'm sick and there's a treatment that I think might help me, or a treatment that I want, and I can't have it because the government is holding all the cards. The government has all of my resources. The government's holding my $1 million. Sure, I can't waste that $1 million, but the reason I'm sick and dying is because of the government. So a lot of people will say, oh, it's a perfect system. Socialism is a perfect system. Capitalism is a perfect system. None of that's true. Anybody who says capitalism is a perfect system is full of shit. Same way anybody who says socialism is a perfect system is full of shit. There is no perfect system. Life is going to be different for everybody. Everyone is going to have different experiences. If you live in a place that gets bad weather to the point where the roads ice up and people are crashing into each other, not everybody's going to have that experience, because some people live in warmer places, or some people live in places that are used to having that much cold. And so they're prepared for it. It doesn't affect them. Everybody's going to have a different experience. So this idea of equality is a lie. Because no matter how much you fight to get equality, human beings are constantly changing their position. They're constantly moving. They're working, they're trading, they're doing all kinds of things that are either making them more wealthy or less wealthy. And so all of these systems that, socialists or government or whatever try to come up with, oh, okay, we're going to take money from over here, we're going to move it to people over here, we're going to take this, we're going to redistribute this. It's only temporary. Because yes, you're going to make people a little bit more wealthy, and you're going to make some other people, you're going to take some people who are more wealthy and make them less wealthy. You're going to take people who are less wealthy and make them more wealthy. But because you're doing that so generically, you're going to end up taking from people who aren't as wealthy. You're going to take from the wealthy, but you're also going to take from people who aren't as wealthy. And you're going to give to people who are less wealthy, but you're also going to be giving to people who are more wealthy. Because you can't micromanage every single one of these systems. And of course, people find ways to cheat these systems. But at the same time, while this is all going on, people are moving themselves up and down, up and down. More wealthy, less wealthy. So even if today you could snap your fingers and have a magic system where everybody is equally wealthy, tomorrow they'll be unequal again. So, those are some extra. If you have some interesting ideas or thoughts about that, I definitely want to hear your comments. Send me a message. And until next time, taxation is theft. See you guys later.